Hello. All right. I think I've got this working. Sorry, I am late. I know I said I would be at 3:30, but there was some more technical things that I didn't know about. So, because this is my first live, I'm so excited. So, thank you so much if you guys are watching this on replay, which I'm sure most of you will be. But if you do join me here live today, I'm really excited to have you. And feel free to ask any questions. I'm pretty sure they'll pop up for me, and I'll answer anything you'd like today. Yeah, but otherwise, if you don't have any questions, I will be getting right into how to survive the winter. That's sort of what we're talking about today. And I decided to talk about that because I feel like this was a thing that a lot of people asked me before I came here, like, oh, it's going to be freezing when you live there. And oh, like, are you sure you want to move there? And whatever else. So, oh, hey. So yeah, so that's something I just really wanted to talk about because I know that that's sort of a popular question, especially as winter approaches. I'm just going to adjust this a little bit. So it is already snowed. It has already snowed here. It has changed so quickly. So it was very much fall a few weeks ago, and now it is very much winter. It is freezing. So, I think it's not that bad once you get going in the winter, but when it changes so fast like that, you just think, "Oh, I'm freezing." Oh, can you hear me okay, by the way? Hopefully I'm not just talking to myself. Just let me know maybe in the comments if you can hear me. That would be so great. So, we're going to talk about not only hey guys, what things you need to wear in the winter time, but also sort of about some mental health things because I know that a lot of people here struggle with things like seasonal depression, just because it is darker for longer periods of time here, and also the winter season is a lot longer, and that's been coming up in my sort of friend circle lately. So I just thought I want to go ahead and talk about that a little bit as well. So we'll get started right into it right now, I guess. This is so exciting. Thank you so much for being here, guys, those of you who are here live. So, and thank you for subscribing and making this even possible for me and watching my content and all that stuff. It's meant the world to me. So thank you so much. All right. So I think we'll start with maybe the mental health stuff. This has come up for me a little bit. In fact, a friend even asked me, like, how are you doing? And things like that, because when she moved up here, it was a real struggle for her. And I was just talking to another friend about it too a little while ago. I think it is a really common thing here. Seasonal depression, and I think maybe that's why we have such a problem with addictions as well. I know that addictions are really common here, especially yeah, just around the Northwest Territories. And so it's sad, but I think a lot of times we don't even know that we have these things, and so it can be hard to obviously talk to people about. So it's just I wrote down even and researched it beforehand. I've struggled with depression only one time in my life, and I'm not even sure it was a seasonal thing necessarily. Like I don't know what season it was, but I know that I think I was in denial for a long time, and my family was as well. And when I finally got help and talked to people about it and realized what was going on, I obviously started to get treatment, and it really helped. So I just want to I guess I want it to be on our minds as the season approaches, especially if you're moving here, planning on moving here, or living here already, or just I don't think you even have to live in a place like this to deal with it. So I did write down some of the symptoms, and I just wanted to go over them really quickly, just so that we can think about ourselves and sort of self-evaluate. So there's sadness, anxiety, irritability, loss. That one was so interesting to me because I had a friend who dealt with it in the irritability sort of way. And she was just like angry all the time. And I've never really thought of it that way. I guess I always thought of it as being sad. And so that was more in the postpartum depression realm, but that can be any kind of depression. So you can be irritable instead of sad. So that's just something to maybe notice that was surprising to me, at least when I learned of it. Loss of interest in usual activities, withdrawal from social activities, inability to concentrate, extreme fatigue, and lower energy. I'm going to talk about that a little later too, because I feel like because it's dark here and it gets dark late and then it gets dark early, you sort of only have, I think it's like 4 hours in the like middle of the winter. That's how much light you get. And so I just find like it's really hard to like get going. Like you just notice the hours roll by in the morning and you're like, oh, like I'm not being productive or like doing my regular routine. So at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about some tips for how to deal with certain things that come with the winter up here. But that is one thing I want to talk about a little more as well, just like getting a routine down so that you can not like, be slothful or whatever when like if you're not depressed, of course. Because I think everybody's like that. We sort of like have a slow start here, it feels like. Like when you go to the stores in the morning, it's like there's nobody there. Like it's sort of the days kind of start later here, whereas like where I'm from, people were like at it in the morning. So anyway, a little random there, but you can see why I don't go live very often because like this is my videos and then I'm like editing and like just having to cut everything out because I ramble. No, it's not snowing hard. There's like barely any snow on the ground. It's just like a light dusting. And it doesn't really snow hard here, I feel like. Like in Ontario, it snowed hard and you were out there shoveling 3 times a day sometimes. Here, I feel like it's almost never like that, at least in my experience. I've only been here for half the winter so far. I came in December last year. So yeah, it's like always just like a light, pretty snow, I feel like. I don't know. I know that sounds weird, but it's never like hard. I don't know. So no, and there's very little snow on the ground, but it's there. Hey. Okay, so John's saying he's moving here in January and how reliable is the internet? You read somewhere that it cuts off frequently. Yeah, that is kind of a weird thing. The internet, I don't know if you know, but you don't have any options. So it's like there's two. There's Northwest Tel, and then this, I think I don't even know what the other one is, but I heard that it's very unreliable when I moved here. It's the cheaper of the two, but I don't think it works as well. The internet is very expensive. And yeah, it's kind of weird. It just randomly cuts out sometimes, but it'll go out like everywhere. Like it's not just your internet, it's like it's out in the city. It's bizarre. So yeah, but you know what? It's not been anything crazy and it'll come on in like 5 seconds. So like, yeah, it's nothing like to worry about, but you are gonna have to worry about paying a lot more, I find, for the internet. But it is reliable. I would say overall it's reliable. It's like 9 out of 10. It's like normal internet. Everybody's internet cuts out, but it does cut out a little more. Same with the power. The power will just like randomly go out like way more frequently than I'm used to anyway. Kind of a weird thing. How hot does it get here? Okay. It gets too hot for me. I'm trying to think of what the temperatures were in the summer. Like I felt like they were pretty comparable to Ontario, but I'm sure they weren't. Obviously, the time when it's hot is shorter, like those prime like 2 months in the middle of the summer hottest. But yeah, I don't know. I honestly can't remember. I'm so sorry what an exact temperature for you, but it definitely gets hot enough to enjoy the weather. Okay, maybe here's a gauge. You can't like you can swim for like maybe a month and it's cold. So like we went to the beach I think it was July, and the water's cold. Like the water never warms up. I don't know if that helps you. Sorry. I think that's a thing I might have to Google after. So someone says, I'm always surprised by Yellowknife skyline, with such a small city. Yeah, it's really weird. It's like so people I think that it's not like a normal city. Like I don't know what they think, but it is. It's just like a regular small city, except yeah, there are a few tall buildings downtown. If you watch my Yellowknife downtown tour, that's really the only place that there are those buildings. I think it's like the internet buildings and the government buildings, really. Like I don't think there's too many tall buildings, but it is. It's like strange. It definitely feels like a small city for sure, but it's nice. Okay. Did you consider buying AC for the summer, John? John, that's such a funny question because I brought my AC, like just window air conditioners from when we moved. I like run hot. I run hotter than the most of my family, I think. But I desperately wanted to use them in the summer, like for 2 months or maybe even 3. I mean, sometimes I would use it in the winter, so maybe I'm not a good example, but my husband did not want to set it up, so we never did. But I think, yeah, like you could definitely use it because, yeah, it got really hot in my opinion. But yeah, so we have one. It's here if we want it, but I don't know that many of the houses just like have it in the house, but I'm not sure. I haven't bought a house yet, so I'm not exactly sure about that. But it definitely gets hot enough. You're not going to like miss your summers too much, if that's maybe the reason for some of these questions, because it's like a good enough summer season where it feels like, well, I don't know where you're coming from, I guess. If you're coming from Southern Canada, I'm talking about, that's where I came from. But yeah. And, winter, if you get to travel, I would suggest it if you're going to travel in the winter, like that December, January. I think that's when a lot of people travel just because it gets so cold. So we want to, go somewhere hot. But oh, okay. You're from Edmonton and you don't like the summers. Oh, interesting. Okay. Like, why don't you like them exactly? Like the heat? Or they're not warm enough for you? Definitely, if they're not warm enough, then you're not going to be warm enough here. The only difference, I bet, between Edmonton and here would be the bugs. Like, I'm assuming That really bothered me in the summer. Like the early summer and the late summer are wonderful, but that middle summer where there's all those bugs, I don't know if you watch my videos regularly, but like I couldn't do the bugs. Oh, too hot for you, even with 3 fans. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, then it's probably similar, I would think. I don't think there's too well, yeah, it's gonna be a little cooler here, obviously, but I'm sure it's pretty similar. So, yeah, it might be too hot still, but it won't be hot for long. Just be for a little bit. But, that's funny that you're too hot with 3 fans. Yeah, you definitely might wanna get an AC then if you're moving here in January. That's such a funny time to move too because it's, like, the worst time possible, really. Are you driving then from Edmonton, I assume? You'll probably have to quarantine then too and everything, so that sucks. But it's a good time to quarantine, January, because it's way, way, way cold. You're not really going anywhere for too long in January, but, um, okay. Okay, so you're starting your job on January 18th. Yeah, the quarantine is hard, but it sounds like I have a few people who've messaged me who have come here and quarantined, and I don't know what job you're with, but it sounds like a lot of the jobs are really, like, putting you up well, like, I know one of the ladies was saying that she's in a hotel and they're bringing her, like, 3 hot meals a day, and I think I don't wanna say something wrong, but I think you're even allowed to kinda go for walks and stuff. I'm not exactly sure, and of course, all that stuff might change now that we have got a couple cases or potentially have a couple cases now, so I'm not really sure, but, yeah, that I guess that will be difficult, but it's the best time to quarantine, January. I just feel bad you moving your stuff, that at that time. It's just so cold, I don't know. It's not the best time to move. We moved, like, beginning of December, so anyway. Um, so yeah, I guess if you're coming from somewhere close, I don't know how relevant the close situation will be. You probably already have what you need, especially if you're coming from like the Alberta, like upper Alberta or even upper Ontario, all those like northern parts of the provinces. I think a lot of people think they need to purchase like Canada Goose coats and like just the best warm stuff. And I really recommend just buying layers. Like just have more sweaters and like one warm coat, but not too warm. So I think the most important things are that the coat is long, because yeah, the wind, when it's windy, it's very cold. When it's not windy, you're not like, ooh, I'm freezing. But I know my husband bought a really good coat, and when he would walk to work and stuff, he would be like sweating. And so he didn't buy a Canada Goose coat, but he's like, oh, my coat that I bought is definitely too warm. So definitely consider that. The things you're going to be doing outside, if you're going to be like hiking in the winter and stuff as well, like you're not going to want a super warm coat. So definitely get a warm coat, but not a super warm coat. The stuff I would focus on getting the most warm are like boots, like get the warmest boots you possibly can. And of course, you're going to be like layering your socks, stuff like that, because like my boots are not warm enough either. Yeah, I should have got warmer boots, but I don't know that they make warm enough boots on the planet for that sort of thing. But same with your mittens, like best pair of mittens you can, and then be layering. So get a whole bunch of those like crappy, you know what I mean, mittens that are no, sorry. So John's asking if Canada Goose coats are subsidized in the north. No, I don't think so. I've never heard of that anyway, but maybe. I really don't think so. I know that you see them a lot here, and you'll see them in my videos where I do any kind of tour, and it's because all the companies here that do tourism, like that supply the coats to tourists, they're all Canada Goose. So you'll see like a million people downtown in Canada Goose coats. It was like a joke for my husband and I for a while because I'm like, I would always point out like, oh my gosh, they're all wearing the same coat, and he'd be like, yeah, it's the tourist company. Like he was always going on, like being like, oh, because I'd always forget. I'm like, this is so weird that they all have the same coat on, but yeah, no, I don't think other than that they're subsidized, but yeah, they're definitely common up here, and that's because a lot of those people are coming from like really hot places, I think. So, if you're just visiting or whatever, but I don't recommend if you're moving here, especially because you want to get kind of used to it. You don't want to rely on the Canada Goose thing, in my opinion. In my opinion, I mean, you might get here and be like, "You're crazy. I should have bought a Canada Goose coat," but I really don't think so. I don't even own snow pants, so like I don't know. And I do things with my kids, like we went, tobogganing and stuff, and I don't know. I mean, it would be good, especially for the wind. So that's the other thing I was going to talk about. So like basically you're just looking for wind protection. So like and waterproof. So Jeans are really good. You don't need to wear snow pants necessarily, and make sure you have really good long johns. That's the other thing I would say. Um, because yeah, that's gonna like I would wear my long johns. Like I got one that looks like a shirt kind of, and I wear that all the time in the house, even in the winter. Like I don't know what it is. It's like so weird. You're like freezing in your house, even though it's fine in the winter. It's so weird, but yeah. So just let me make sure I covered everything for that stuff. Oh yeah, and of course, okay, so my husband would disagree with me here. He rarely wore a balaclava, but I think it is like essential. I would not go outside without a balaclava for like many of the months because I don't know, like his face would be like beet red freezing and he's like fine. I don't know. And same with my daughter. She was the same way. Like she would prefer not to wear the balaclava, but for me, like, and my son, we always had to have our face covered. You can also get, if you have kids, those little, they're like bandanas that tie as well, just something to cover your mouth. The mask thing helps now a little bit. That'll help a little bit in the winter, but yeah, definitely that's something to consider. And again, I'm going to talk about kids for a little bit, but those toaster suits, like that Mech company is the only place we've purchased things from for the winter, really, that are like our good stuff, like our long johns or whatever, snow pants stuff for the kids, mittens, hats. And they make those toaster suits. I would definitely recommend those for little kids. Like I wish I even would have got one for my 5-year-old. But again, she runs hot, so she'll be okay. But definitely for young kids, those are really handy to have. And you'll get good use out of them up here at least too, right? Yeah, so and then good socks too, like wool socks, like really warm socks would be good because that's what gets cold, right? Your hands and your feet. But I don't know, I think the cold is a little overblown here. Like when people talk about the cold, it's I don't know, it's just not the same without the humidity. You don't feel as cold. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so I'll get to some tips now. So one thing is like I just want to talk about cars a little bit too because this was something I didn't know anything about coming from Southern Ontario. And you need to plug in your cars here in the wintertime when it gets below -15. They recommend plugging in your car. And so you would have like a block heater or a trickle charger. I think a block heater is more recommended. So you definitely, I would get that installed, especially if you're moving in January. Definitely get that installed before you come. And that's one thing when I like made sure to remember when I was apartment searching because some of the apartments don't have plugins. And so I'm not really sure. I don't know if people run it from their house or what they do, but you do need to plug in your car, or maybe they don't have cars. I guess that's another option. We do have a transit system here, but I don't think it's very good. I don't know, but I mean, I don't know. I would not want to be relying on the transit system in those really, really cold months. But I mean, the taxi service and stuff is good too. So you can probably get away with it, especially because it's a smaller city and you don't have to go as many places and stuff. So, um, yeah, your pace of life is slower. So I guess that wouldn't be bad. But yeah, so the plugins for the cars, and I would like, I'm like thinking of budgeting to move up here. I would definitely budget to like literally get. I think we went through 10 of power cords or whatever last year because I guess yeah, sorry, I got lost my train of thought because I would always drive away and forget it's plugged in. So I think they call it like the Arctic snake or something when like a car is driving around and you can see like the plug hanging from the car because the person's an idiot and forgot to unplug it, like me. So yeah, I went through a lot of cords like pulling apart last year just because of the habit. I just would never remember. I don't know what it is. Like I would say to myself, even I'd like see it when I went out and be like, oh yeah, like remember to unplug that. Cause obviously you have to allow yourself more time to go anywhere because you have to start your car and let it run for a while. Okay. Okay, that's such a good question. John said, should I get a car here in Edmonton before I move up north? I actually just started learning to drive 1.5 months ago. Ooh, okay. Um, well, again, so your choice on the transit and taxi system, our car when we got here was completely unreliable. So I did have to rely on the on taxis for a while. It just depends what your budget is, I guess. But buying a car up here is expensive and difficult. So definitely if you can get, we considered, I think a lot of people go to Edmonton to buy cars from here just because, especially if you're trying to do a private sale. I have a video on buying a car that might be a little more helpful, but I'll just touch on it a little bit right now. But a private sale is nearly impossible unless you're like at your phone and you see it in 5 minutes and can go and buy it. But from the car lots, obviously things go really quickly. So again, you've got to be like right on it and make a decision quickly. But it's expensive. I feel like just because there's like no cars here. I don't know. It's crazy. It also could be a pandemic thing. I do want to like clarify that as well, because I don't know if it's just like people were upgrading or whatever during the pandemic and had nothing else to do. You know how things were selling quickly, like boats and all kinds of the in that vehicle range category, I guess. Things were selling really quickly. So I don't know if that was part of it, but in our experience, it took us months and months to find a car. It was really difficult. So if you can and you want a car, then I would definitely get one in Edmonton. If you can, just make sure, like I said, you equip it with a block heater and stuff. But I think you have to do that in Edmonton anyway, right? You have to plug in your car, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, you might be already used to that, but anyway, just a little thing. So yeah. So give yourself extra time, and yeah, just try to get in the habit of unplugging your car. Oh, that was so hard for me to remember. Okay, so another thing is, oh yeah, I talked a little bit about the routine, to try to get into routine to deal with the dark. How is it in Edmonton? It's not like that in Edmonton, right? Where it's dark, uh, like for a really short period of time, or light for a really short period of time. Sorry, I think it gets to like 4 hours here of light in December and January. Don't quote me on that, but I don't think it's the same there. But anyway, it's just something to get used to. Um, oh yeah, okay, it gets dark around 7. Yeah, I mean, what time in the morning too does it get light? It's dark around 4. Oh wow. Okay, so I guess it's about the same. I didn't realize it was like that in Edmonton. Okay, cool. And you're in Edmonton too, Kat, then? What time does it get light in the morning? Because it's right now it's about 10. Okay. Yeah, that's about normal. I think it gets light at about 9:30, I guess I should say, here right now. And then I can't remember when it kind of gets dark in the evening right now, but it goes quick too. Same thing. Like it'll just like you'll be like all of a sudden, okay, it's dark all the time. Like it's just weird. Things go so quickly. Um, Another thing I want to talk about is a lot of people think they're going to see the northern lights up here. Like, okay, maybe people don't think this. I might be wrong. I thought when I moved up here that I would just come up here and the northern lights would always be there and it'd be so beautiful, but it's not like that at all. We still have not seen the northern lights. I mean, we saw them like a little bit. It was like faint in the sky, but it was like after like 6 tries of like driving out of the city. It's so hard to see the northern lights. I don't know what it is. It's like Chris has like an app on his phone that tells him like, okay, this is probably a good time to see them, because there's things to consider. Like if it's cloudy, you won't see them. Even the lights from the city make it hard for you to see them. So, oh, okay, 7:30. Yeah, it's definitely much later here now. But anyway, so yeah, definitely don't move here with the expectation of seeing the northern lights all the time. And like if that's going to help you in any way enjoy the beauty of the region, just don't bother. I feel bad for like the tourists that come up here and think like I guess this is good if you're planning to visit, because you're probably not going to see them. I'm not going to lie, but maybe these tourist companies know something that I don't. I don't know, but um, okay. And so another thing is definitely, I don't, obviously you people coming from Edmonton, this won't apply, but I came from Southern Ontario again, as you know, so it's a lot more dry up here. So some things maybe that you want to consider as well is like making sure you're like moisturizing and you're carrying lip gloss and all that stuff, because it gets dry. I haven't noticed too much of a difference, or my whole family for some reason, all of our feet have been like mega dry. That's been really the only thing. I thought it might be my face because my face is really dry, but I haven't noticed that as much. And then my hands as well, of course. So definitely consider that as well. That was something that was kind of a change, and that people would always ask me about. Like when I'd meet people that knew I moved here, they'd be like, "Oh, are you having trouble with like the dryness or whatever?" And I'm like, "Oh, not really, just like a little bit." But it definitely affected my family and their feet like way more. It was weird, but anyway. So that's definitely something to consider. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I have family in Calgary. Are you considering moving up here, Kat? Then Calgary's beautiful. I have family in Red Deer. Yeah, yeah, sure. No, I probably won't be still streaming. Enjoy your appointment. I'm gonna wrap it up really soon here. So definitely, if you guys have any more questions, definitely ask them now because I'm about to wrap it up. But I'd be happy to answer your questions. Always on my videos, feel free to comment too. I try to answer almost all the comments I can, unless they're things like, "Can you meet me outside?" I want to meet you. I'm not going outside to meet you. Sorry. Okay, so oh yeah, just a little thing with the kids. I was like paranoid about the kids moving here. That was like my main thing with like them just being too cold. I was so worried. And my husband's been so good about that, like just getting them used to being outside, like creating a routine where like you almost kick them outside, like, okay, go outside and play to get them used to it. And even for myself, like I'm such a homebody. And so you need to just get in a routine of going outside and getting used to it. Like my husband said when because he was walking to work every day for a while there, he works like 4 days on and then has 6 days off. But on the days he was working and picking up overtime and stuff, he would walk in like the coldest months of the winter. And he got so used to it. Like he said, like it's nothing for him now. So definitely don't be afraid to get your kids used to it. Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry, I feel like I'm like randomly in and out of my thoughts here, but okay, yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah, if you moved here in a couple years, definitely. Hopefully, things will be more back to normal in a few years. I feel like almost we're never going to get back to normal here. I feel like our government is so slow to do everything, but I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, it'll be good in a few years as far as the virus precautions and stuff. Like the activities for kids right now are like nothing really. Like, yeah, that aren't like crazy. Like my daughter really wants to do skating this year, and we went to put her in it, and she's 5, and they wanted to just take her like meet like so there's like the door, and then you go up like some stairs like into the arena or whatever, and then you go up some stairs, and like the hockey rink is at the back, like the skating rink, and they want you to like drop your kids off dressed at the like in their full whatever and then leave. And I'm like, it's like you can't even watch. And I'm like, I'm not doing that with my 5-year-old with like people I don't even know. Or I shouldn't say that. I think they just changed it where you can have one parent. But again, any parent that has siblings, like you can't bring them. So it's like really limiting. I don't know, all the restrictions and stuff. They suck. Hopefully COVID goes away soon. But anyway, okay. Uh just want to make sure I covered everything that I wanted to. Give me one second. Yeah. Oh, yeah, just, like, back to the kids really quickly. It's just I think it's hard because things transition so quickly, so, like, just a few weeks ago, my kids could go outside in a long sleeve shirt, and now it's like they have to get in their full gear, and I think it's really frustrating to them, like, there was no in between, like, "Okay, now you can put on your full jacket and just maybe some light mittens." It was like, boom, you gotta put on everything. So I think that really frustrated them and made them not wanna go outside, and I just really think part of enjoying the Yellowknife experience is being able to get outside, and, like, I'm saying that, and I'm a complete homebody, but, like, the beauty of it and like appreciating it and wanting to live here is those kinds of activities, is seeing like how beautiful it is. So yeah, I think it's just super important to like try to do those things with your family when you especially when you first move here, because I think a lot of people move here and then don't like it. If they don't like it, that's probably why. Like Chris said sometimes people he talks to in certain places, like they say, "Oh, well, I just moved here and I hate it." And he's like, "Oh, have you done this hike? Have you done this? Have you done this?" And they're like, "No, no, 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 we haven't done anything." And it's like, yeah, if you sit here and look outside and realize it's winter for like 7 months of the year, you're gonna hate it, right? Like, I don't know. So it's part of it is just like appreciating how beautiful it is here. Kat says they're only letting people who know how to skate do skating lessons. Oh, really? Okay, that's kind of like the swimming here. It's like I think you have to be like level 5 to be able to go without your parent in the water. That was another problem, like, because my daughter does swimming usually, and it's like, but that's funny that they have to they have to know how to skate. Like, what's the point in doing it? But I think they did have it that way for a while. They weren't doing like the lower lessons, but then they changed it. They're always changing things, but yeah, with the swimming, it's like you have to get in the water, and I'm like, well, I'm not getting in the water with my 2-year-old. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so Emil, I think that's Emily. Emily, hi. I just started watching. That's okay. So sorry if you've already answered this. How do you feel about the government in the Northwest Territories? Like, are there offices? Are the offices there quick and efficient? Okay. I don't know exactly what you're asking about in the government. I don't want to get into like too many like political things because my husband will kill me. Really, is the only reason. But he likes to be like not controversial. But I am going to talk about the government in an upcoming video because we have a unique government. I can't remember the exact word for it, but it's a little bit different. As far as getting things done right now, it's not quick and efficient. I'm trying to think of what video it was. Oh, my car video again, where I talked about going into the DMV. And they were like, they had made, you have to make an appointment. And my appointment, just to register my new car that I bought, and I didn't have one at the time. And my appointment was like 2 or 3 weeks away. And I was like, okay, like I can't even pick up my car until I get the registration done. I haven't even switched my Ontario license yet because again, I had an appointment, then they canceled it. I think there was like a flood there. I don't know. It was so weird. Anyway, So I still even have my Ontario license, but yeah, they're really slow. I had to go wait outside the office, like right when it opened. And I said to the guy, like, I'll just wait all day. If someone cancels their appointment, then I will just take their appointment. Because he was like arguing with me anyway. And then I saw them just turning people away and turning people away after that. So, like, I think if you're, yeah, it's slow, but I think it's just because of COVID. And so they're really, I think they're slow in general, though. Like, I do think it's obviously much slower because of COVID, but I think to get things done are really slow. Like, they're talking about like, oh, I can't get into it. It just drives me crazy. I think they're very slow. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Not political wise necessary, just your experience is different. Yeah. I think that's probably the only one I've had experience with. As far as like changing my health card and stuff, that was super easy, but that was before COVID. That was really quick too. It was like a quick thing. I'm trying to think. So we did DMV and the health. Yeah, I think that's really the only thing. Am I missing something that I would deal with the government with? I can't even think. Yeah. I don't know about when you're coming in from another country, however. I'm assuming that you're already here in Canada and just switching from another province. I'm assuming obviously everything's totally different when you come in from another country. But yeah, I think it's probably slower than where you're from. Let's just say that. Everything's slower here. Do you have your own police service or the RCMP? So I don't want to screw up my words politically here, but the reserves have their own policing thing that they have. And then we have the RCMP. So we don't have like the Yellowknife police, but just the RCMP police here. So, yeah, I don't know if I answered your question. I think I'm saying your name right, Emily. I'm really sorry if that didn't answer your question. But yeah, just expect everything to be slower, I would say. It's just like a slower pace of life. I don't know. But the other thing is that nobody's like rushing you like to get things done. There's, it's not as strict, I feel like. But yeah, I don't know. That's all I have for you guys, I think, today. I'll just look over my notes really quickly just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, just like back to the plug thing really quickly with plugging your cars in. A lot of the like hotels and some of the stores will have plugs too. I noticed like a lot of people in the winter when they're going to the grocery store will like leave their car running just because like if you don't leave it running for like half an hour, you can't get it to start again. So like Walmart has plugs, the hospital has plugs. Yeah, a lot of the hotels have plugs, but yeah, definitely that's something to consider. It was just new for me, so it was on my mind I think when I was writing all my notes, but yeah, that's it really, I think. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me here today. I really, really appreciate it. I'll definitely do this again. It's been really fun. I really, really like interacting with you guys like this. That's been great. So hopefully you guys are having a great day and will continue to have a great day. And I guess I will see you later. See you in the next video. Bye.